So guys, once again, I find myself a victim of Facebook Marketplace scrolling as we have a brand new, cheap Outback project car, this one wrecked up. Now, this was actually thought out in some form of logic back a couple of weeks ago when I thought that the CVT had died in my 2011 and the chain was slipping. I got on Marketplace immediately looking for wrecked or destroyed or parting out Outbacks to locate a very cheap used TR690 for my black Outback. And I stumbled across this one that had been posted the very day I had the issues with my car. Pretty ironic. Long story short, this is a 2011 Outback, same year. It is the gray metallic or charcoal gray. I'm not sure Subaru's actual name for this color. It has been wrecked, if you couldn't tell from the thumbnail, and this beautiful side of the driver side right here. And the key selling point was it had basically a brand new Subaru reman TR690 CVT installed in it about 30,000 miles ago. So that was the winning combination, along with the asking price of $1,300. So now now that I've been driving the black car and know that the CVT is good in it for now, we've got another project car, another cheap Outback project car. 1,300 bucks, clearly has some damage, cosmetics, but it's a clean title car because it only had liability and they could not total out a liability only vehicle. So I've got a clean South Carolina title for this car. And it's got about 205,000 miles on it, if I recall correctly, and it is a limited model with black leather, wood grain, all the amenities, automatic climate, heated seats, etc. So pretty nice car. Today's video, we're just going to go around, do a full general inspection, see how badly I made out for the $1,300 price tag, and see if it's worth fixing to flip and how much it potentially cost to get it back looking right. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into the inspection. So guys, we'll start off with a little walk around showing you what and how bad it is. So the story here, as best I remember it, this was a college student. She was parked and a service truck came by and sideswiped her, and they got her really, really good, as you can see here. Gouging out the driver's door, ripping the side skirt off, messing up the fender. They also wrecked the quarter panel, tail light, and back bumper cover. So quite a bit of expensive body work here. This is about $500 for a quarter panel from Subaru Parts Deals. Waiting on quotes right now from local body shops to put that in, paint it, and get it right. Looking for used bumper covers. Actually found a gray 2011 identical to this at my local pull-apart in Charlotte, and I was able to snag a door and a mirror for about 120 bucks along with a tail light. So we've got a lot of this sorted out. The fender here is like 70 bucks from Subaru. I only know that because we hit a deer with the black car and had to get it. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the side skirts because the way they set them up on the jack stands at the junkyard, it was pinched and I couldn't pull it out from under it, which was really sad because it had the rock lights, the Subaru accessory, and I really wanted both of them to put on this car as a little upgrade. So driver's side is completely wiped out, but the passenger side seems to be relatively nice. Everything is pretty much together as it should be, limited to no damage and sun fade, and the paint is in pretty good condition. Otherwise, on the outside of the car, we do need a set of tires. We have a matching set, but they are pretty worn down. Set of Goodyear assurances, and they do have some dry rotting. Also, something worthy of noting on the exterior is towing package, as we see here, which my 2011 does not have. So moving on to the interior, we've got, forgot this was in here. So that is remnants of the lower door. Looks like it got ran over afterwards from the tire tracks. And the remnants of our tail light that needs to go in the trash. Luckily, we got the all-weather cargo mat in here. Unluckily, the cargo cover is missing. I cannot stand when people take them out and do not leave them with the car. Apparently they didn't get it with the car either, sadly. No seat back protector here, but really nice black leather, wood grain, limited interior. We'll go up there and look at that in a minute. I have not looked down here in the spare tire well in case they did tuck away and store. They did not tuck away and store the cargo cover. Unfortunately, I am out of luck. Now, I have just noticed something that could potentially be quite an issue, and that's that this is pushed in a little bit. As you can see, we cannot get this to line up. This is kind of pushed in. I don't know if the rear quarter replacement, whoops, will fix that or not, but I'm hoping it would, because pretty much it's all of this section here. If they could just pull this a little bit. So it looks like we might need a little bit of time on the frame machine. Fault they just had hooked it here and crumpled that in, but looks like this back piece got pushed in a little bit. Although the hatch seems to close as it should and function properly, we definitely have a bit of pinching going on this way and over. So a little bit aggravating to discover that, but as I said, hatch closes great, and our gap up here looks about right, which based on the gap here of the rear driver door, it looks to be okay. It doesn't look like it got pinched or deflected from the energy transfer. It looks like it just smashed in here and didn't really push everything forward. It must have nudged enough there to throw off that interior, but this seems to be all right. It opens and closes as to be expected. I assume since this car was stationary and it just got, drug along the side rather than an actual harsh impact. This, they said, was already there. A softball hit that, so that's not buckling from this accident. But as I said, we got a very clean interior here with black leather, wood grain, nice limited. Our driver door is a big mess as it does not shut quite properly. You can shut it and then give her the old hip bump. That didn't feel great. And it will shut, but the upper edge of the door is kicked out, and that was quite loud. I drove this back from Hickory, North Carolina, so it did drive and run perfectly fine. Air conditioned, blew cold, everything was good, but there is wind noise all through there. We have a nice hole in the side of the door, but like I said, I already have a gray body match perfect door to put on here, so hopefully that new door will fix all of these gaps and errors. I think that's just where it got pushed in, that it pulled this out. Also took out the side view mirror here. These are not cheap. 3 different pieces, the glass, the piece, and this out here, but got it all together on that door. This fender honestly might be savable, but probably not. It's very thin, very flimsy, already adjusted, just pushing on it here because it had flared out. Close this gap up. There's a little bit of a buckling here, pushed on that. We do have a dent here, but the rest of it is not terrible. But again, for 60, 70 bucks for a genuine Subaru one, might as well get it painted when we're getting the quarter panel painted and save the time and money there. And then other than that, we do have a little bit of damage on the front bumper cover right here and here, unrelated incident. And we have a crack and tape on our headlight here. So unfortunately, that gray Outback that I found in the junkyard, everything basically was missing doors forward. The fenders were gone, headlights, grill, bumper cover, hood, and the rear bumper cover was gone. So lucked out on getting that. Probably could have gone back with a Sawzall and cut that quarter panel out and saved myself quite a bit of money, but oh well. So we get this open again. Nice clean interior. We have some WeatherTech floor mats in the front, Subaru factory floor mats in the back. Everything seems to work fine. Just a little bit of wear on the stitching there, and I think that was it as far as the seats and the interior is concerned. Everything else is in really, really good shape. So now that we've seen cosmetically what our issues are, let's go under the hood, take a look at some stuff, get under it, look at some stuff, and try to get a better idea of what we're working with here. And before I forget, we got 214,352 showing on the odometer. So moving under the hood, I do know that the battery needed a jump start after, I think it's been 2 weeks now since I bought this. So we'll definitely put the battery on a charger. Likely it is, you know, DOA. But one thing I did note was that we were low on coolant. I did top it up before we drove out with it from Hickory. So likely we got a head gasket issue, eating some coolant. Hard to say with this being a later, or second to last year EG 253. Brake fluid is dark, of course needs to be flushed, probably hasn't been flushed. Our serpentine belt looks to be pretty decent. Need to pull the cover, check the timing belt. We're not seeing the normal pushback really of that upper hose. Well, maybe it did push back a little bit, so could be building up too much pressure from a head gasket issue. We didn't run it long enough to get it up to full temperature. Haven't opened up the air box, checked out the air filter, any of that stuff. Of course, our suction hose is going to be hard. Has not been replaced. Most people don't service those. Probably is going to need PCV valve, PCV hose, all that stuff's probably hard. Looking in here, we can see the nice shiny CVT, which is the main thing we're after, because that thing's like $8,500 from Subaru, and for $1,300, that was a steal of a deal to get essentially a new transmission wrapped in a drivable shipping container, so to say. But yeah, we'll get up underneath the front end, back end, do our normal checks, see if there's anything that is jumping out at us. There shouldn't be any kind of damage to the suspension due to this wreck, just because, again, they were parked and they were sideswiped. So nothing really should have bent, twisted, been damaged like had it been an actual impact, them running into somebody or someone running into them at speed. So shouldn't be anything other than normal wear and tear stuff as far as the suspension and steering is concerned for 214,000 miles. So guys, I've got the battery charger on here, getting this some charge in it. We've taken a look at our air cleaner. Not terrible, but probably due for a new one. I've got the intake off right now. We're gonna pull the throttle body, give it a good cleaning, because it did stall out on me after the battery died. So a little bit of carbon ring around there, clean that up. Should idle a lot better once we get the battery charged and get this thing running regularly, or more regularly. Hopefully this battery will take a charge and hold a charge for a while. Oh yeah, yummy. Remember guys, if you ever have an issue where your Subaru is wanting to stall out or choke down coming to a stop, it's not always the CVT or the torque converter. It can be just as easy as a dirty throttle body and needing an idle relearn, especially if you've recently had the battery loose or put a new battery in it and things tried to reset, and they had to fight against all this gunk. Throttle body's clean, back on. Looks like we might have a little bit of a crack in the radiator, which would explain why it's low. But that crack is likely due to too much pressure from blowing head gasket. Look at the goop on the old cap there, the goop floating in the coolant, and I barely had this thing running. It had quite a bit of pressure in it already. So get the old pressure tester hooked up and see if that is an active leak or not. And the answer is, yep, we got a cracked radiator. Should recorded I was pumping it up. Hose moved back, and we got our little hairline crack right here, which is kind of common anyway with the age of these, and the fact that the top tanks just get rotty, the plastic gets bad, lots of heat cycles and age and stuff, and you know, it cracks. But that top hose is swelling on us. Also pushed back after I just pulled it forward. So, you know, that stuff normally happens due to overpressurization constantly of the system, due to blowing head gaskets, putting combustion pressure into the cooling system. Looks like we got a wet spot down there. I'm not sure if that spilled over from there or if we've got a leak down by the water pump and thermostat, but definitely got a cracked radiator, as you can see right there along that line, and all this being squishy in here. Good thing it made it back from Hickory. That was quite a drive. So lucked out big time. So we took the time to use the cooling system pressure tester to verify that we had a cracked radiator. Do we take the extra couple of steps to use the cylinder leakage tester to test a head gasket issue between combustion and cooling? Pretty sure we've got one. Pretty common on this vintage of EJs. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's see if we can visually show you quickly and easily the most effective way at diagnosing a blown head gasket when it is cooling to combustion with a cylinder leakage tester. All right, so we got the air box out, battery out, the typical stuff. Place your bets right now. Pause the video, place your bets now. Oil or no oil, I'm gonna pull this coil out on the spark plug tube seals. I know what way I'm betting, and I won. Oil. Yep, knew that was coming just from the look of the rocker cover gaskets. So a little shot of the brake parts cleaner down the old spark plug holes there, and a blast from the old air nozzle gives us a nice layer of frame rust preventative and exhaust rust preventative. So we'll clean this up a little bit more and pull the plugs. All right, so got that all cleaned up. A little bit nicer to work on. Go ahead and pull the plugs out real quick. So guys, before I go just sticking the cylinder leakage tester in every cylinder, I want to take the borescope out here and run it in each cylinder and do a visual inspection. Why? Well, there's our head gasket. I just about guarantee it. You see how that piston is very clean? There's no carbon buildup on it. When coolant gets in there, it basically steam cleans the combustion chamber and removes any kind of carbon buildup. I'm going to switch from cylinder 4 to cylinder 2 to show you the difference and what I'm looking at. And for comparison, there's cylinder 2 with a nice layer of carbon on it, just like cylinders 1 and 3 on the opposite side. So cylinder number 4 is just about guaranteed to be blown head gasket to coolant because of the steam cleaning of the piston. And guys, there was a little bubble. We don't have a huge leak. We're definitely getting air through cylinder 4 at the head gasket. A little bit of massage on this hose. We get a bubble. That is from air from this hose going into the cylinder, going through the leaking head gasket into the coolant jacket, and then working its way back around. Now, a lot of times if they're really badly blown, they'll just bubble away. But if they're just slight leakage, it might take a little bit to coax the bubble around. But I did get a bubble as soon as I hooked it up. Didn't have the camera going, and got one a little after. So very slow, slight, but definitely blown head gasket over here on cylinder 4 to coolant. There goes some bubbles right there. All right, guys, we got everything back together now. We know we got a blown head gasket. We know we got a cracked radiator. We also have a coolant leak down here. Looks like the typical coolant crossover pipe O-rings. It will not focus. Right there, there's some coolant. So got quite a bit going on with the engine. Let's check out our suspension and steering front and back and wrap this up. Also, forgot, we pulled the timing belt cover, and look at there, almost a new belt. So that is one nice little bonus on top of everything else. So guys, finally up under the front end of the car. Everything pretty much looks good as far as ball joints, tie rod ends, all that stuff. Do got a lot of oil here coming from our rocker cover gaskets and maybe our rear cam plug seals. Looks like we're pretty dry around the oil pan and upper oil pan. Head gaskets, surprisingly, are dry. We're not seeing oil nor coolant leaking at the parting line between the block and the heads. And again, on this side, quite a bit of oil here. Again, looks like that rocker cover and rear cam plug. No tears in our ball joint boots or tie rods or anything like that. All that stuff's looking pretty good. Pick it up, shook the wheel, all that, check tie rods, all that check good. Only thing questionable is that rear control arm bushing that is notorious for failing on these since they changed the design of it. But otherwise, nice and dry on that new CVT as well. Now our rear is a little bit of a different story. As you can see, we got some aftermarket struts on the back. And you know, just glancing, this doesn't look too bad, but you really start looking and you can see this has been touched up with some paint to cover up the rust. This thing spent some time up north, I do believe. Look at all that there. I know some of you northern viewers are saying that's nothing, but to me, that's a lot of rust. But quite a bit. They have painted it, covered it, etc. Not horrible, but not normal for the South, so definitely can see the crusties. Have a bit of an exhaust leak here, of course, at this junction. You could hear it when it was running. But other than that, not too bad. Nothing leaking at the differential axle seals, none of that stuff. Nothing looks too terrible. Pretty good for a $1,300 car, in my opinion. So guys, there we go. Front to back inspection on this cheap wreck $1,300 Outback. I'm definitely not mad at it, especially given that TR690 reman under the hood. The engine runs very well, not too terribly high in mileage, and just needs a reseal, which is not uncommon for this engine. I mean, $500-600 and my time, and pretty much have it good as gold. Now, can I put money into it and justify a flip and sell it? That's the big question. What do you guys think? Is this salvageable as a car, or is it more valuable in pieces? Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for future Subaru and tool content. I'll see you guys in the next one.